قد أفلح المؤمنون.
Sorry. Basically, let not those among you who are good or wealthy swear to not give any help to their kinsmen. I think it's Surah Nur, verse 21 or 22. And so, the which is narrated by Urwa, he only narrates part of the ayah, but we know the entire ayah was revealed. And even the hadith of Mu'adh bin Jabal, where the Prophet where Mu'adh narrates that the ayah was revealed, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُم. It doesn't reveal the يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا in the hadith. So, but we know that the entire verse was revealed, but he's only quoting a part of the ayah. So I don't think it's a good argument to say just because the ayah of Salama, of the hadith of Salama just has that part. That means this was the only part revealed. And I think also because it comes in the middle of the context talking about the wives, there has to be an indication that such a like a what you call like a parenthetical phrase in English. There has to be a hint that it's talking about a different subject. Like if you read like some of the early like linguists like Ibn Junayn in his I think Khasa'is, he talks about when there's a phrase that comes in the middle of a context talking about something, it must come with like a hint which proves that the subject has changed. And when it comes to this ayah, there's nothing in the ayah in the ayah itself that talks about that the subject is changing from the wives. And even if you read the next ayah, it continues with the wives. And I think I can talk more about like the pronoun you talked about, but I'll let you jump in and then I'll talk more about like the pronoun you mentioned in your video.
All right, perfect. I'm going to start by addressing your points one by one. So your first argument was that when you read the beginning, it says وَقُرْنَا فِي بِيُوتِكُنَّ, and then the verse after it, وَذْكُرْنَا مَا يُتْلَى, etc. Yani the context is basically talking about the wives. So this is not an argument that you can use, and I'm going to tell you why, yani, with the sayings of your own scholars. If you take a look at the books about the study of the Quran, for example, if you look at the Itqan al-Ulum al-Quran by As-Suyuti, he says that it is a possibility that in the same ayah, if you read السادس وعشرون الخاطب الشخص ثم العدول إلى غيره, and then he gives two examples in two different ayahs where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks with the kuffar, and then in the same ayah, he talks with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is not an argument that you can use. Yani looking at the context and saying he must be talking with the wives. And I can even show you in these narrations in Majma' al-Fatawa Ibn Taymiyyah and in the second book of Albani, they both say that you cannot use the lugha to make up your own tafsir. You have to go back to the tafsir. We are not yani mufassirin. If the Prophet ﷺ said something about the ayah, you cannot say yani the ayah by reading it, this is what's evident. So this is what Ibn Taymiyyah and Albani say. So now you also mentioned that the ayah was already revealed when Hadith al-Kisa happened. So this is not true, because when you read in the Hadith of Tirmidhi, look at what it says. So Salama salamullahi alayha, she says, قال فلما نزلت هذه الآية, she says when the ayah was revealed على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. She says when the ayah was revealed, and look at where it starts, إنما يريد. It doesn't start with وقرنا في بيوتكن. Then she says في بيت سلمة سلام الله عليها فدعا فاطمة وحسنا وحسينا فجعلهم بالكساء وعلي خلفه ظهره فجعلهم بالكساء ثم قال اللهم هؤلاء أهل بيتي فأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. Then he put them all under the cloak, and he said, these are the members of my family, so remove any impurity from them and purify them. And then Salama salamullahi alayha, she asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, am I among them? قالت Salama وأنا معهم يا نبي الله. Then the Prophet ﷺ told her, no, you're in your own place and you're upon good. أنت على مكانك وأنت على خير. And if you look at one of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, he's a recent one. And also I have a question for you. I want you to tell me, do you think it's specifically about the wives, or is it also talking about Ahlul Kisa? I want to get your opinion regarding that. Inshallah, you can tell me when I finish. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this scholar, al-Tufi, sorry, He's a recent scholar, but he's well known. He says that when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Salama, "Anti ala makanik," he says this is dalil, and very evident dalil, that the only members are the Ahlul Kisa and the wives are not included. So yeah, inshallah, answer my question that I just said. Do you think it's specifically about the wives, or the Ahlul Kisa are also included? Yalla, go ahead.
Okay, so I think I said at the beginning that my belief is that the ayah was revealed primarily for the wives, and Ahlul Kisa were included, so they are included. But even the hadith in Tirmidhi that you said that when these ayahs were revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ, the Salma, when she says that after the ayah was revealed, he called for. So it's not like the ayahs were revealed when they were under the cloak already. After the ayah was revealed, that's when he called them under the cloak, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein, Ali radiallahu anh. So because the wives are already included in it, so he is including others that are already not included in the ayah. So then that's why he calls them. But there's no need for him if the Asbab al-Nuzul is for only these specific 5 or 4, and for none of the wives, then there's no need for the Prophet ﷺ to call them after the ayah is revealed and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, these are the people of my household, to remove the rijs from them and purify them. There's no need for the Prophet ﷺ to do that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already done it in the Quran. But him doing that itself is an indication that these verses weren't applied to them until they were called. So I think the hadith in Tirmidhi actually proves my point that the verses were not primarily revealed for those 4, or if they were, then there's no need for the Prophet ﷺ to come and wrap them in the cloak again and ask them for the same thing that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already promising them in the ayah of Tathir. And I think you posted somebody named Tusi. I'm not sure who he is, but I mean, according to us, you said that you have to refer to the Mufassirin. You can't just base your verdict on the ayah itself or the language itself. But I mean, our Mufassirin, who we say are some of the best Mufassirin, like Ibn Jarir al-Tabari and Ibn Kathir, both of them, they say this verse is khassa for the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, for the wives of the believers, for the mother of the believers. So for us, our Mufassirin clearly say that these verses, and I posted the screenshot of Ibn Kathir in my TikTok, that these verses are pretty khassa for the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. And I don't know if you asked any other question.
Alright, so first I'm gonna address the argument that it's khasa regarding the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. And to address this, I'm simply gonna show narrations in your own books. So in this narration, you have al-Shawkani, you have al-Haytami, both saying that rijalhu taqat. So the narration is sahih, unless you prove that it's munqati', which I checked and it's not. In this narration, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, so I'll read it in English instead of reading it twice. So Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, when he succeeded Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was leading prayers and a man bounced onto him and stabbed him on the thigh. Over that, he fell ill for months. Then he gave a sermon and said, O people of Iraq, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about us, because we are your leaders and your guests. We are that household, AhlulBayt, who Allah Almighty said about them. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam is making a claim. He's saying, this ayah was revealed about us. We are the Ahlul Bayt that this ayah was revealed about. Do you have any narration of any wife, anyone, even bring me a weak narration of any wife saying it's about me? No. What we have actually is the opposite. If you look at Bukhari, during the Khilafah, during the leadership of Muawiyah, you have a narration of Aisha. Do you know what she says? And this was after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you cannot say that the ayah was revealed after. Aisha, at the end of the narration, she says, Allah did not reveal anything from the Quran about us except what was connected with the declaration of my innocent, of the slander. So even Aisha does not believe Ayat al-Tathir is about her. I would expect at least one narration of any wife saying this ayah is about me. No. Actually, we have the opposite. We have Aisha literally admitting, Ayat Tathir is not about me. The only ayahs that were revealed about me are the ayahs in Surah An-Nur. So yes, so if you actually say that the ayah is khasa regarding the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, then Imam al-Hasan is a kafir and he's going to Jahannam. Do you know who else? Imam Zain al-Abidin, because in Tafsir al-Tabari there is a sahih narration where he claims that he is also among AhlulBayt. And the reason why they would be kuffar is because the Prophet ﷺ said, من كذب علي متعمدا فليتبوأ مقعده في النار. And يعني lying on the Prophet is kufr. Imagine lying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his Quran. It says, حدثنا محمد بن عمار, and everyone is stuck on the chain. تنا إسماعيل بن أبان, تنا صباح بن يحيى المري, عن الصدي عن ابن ديلمة, عن أبي ديلمة sorry, قال علي بن الحسين. علي بن الحسين is our fourth Imam, Imam زين العابدين, لرجل من أهل الشام ما قرأت في الأحزاب إنما يريد الله ليهدي عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. قال وأنتم هم. So the guy from Sham asked him, are you them? Then Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says, نعم. قال نعم. Is Imam Zain al-Abidin a kafir? He's lying on, he's making up his own tafsir. He's saying, yes, I am the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, is he a kafir? Is he making up his own tafsir? So obviously, it is not khasa about the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. Anyone who says that is saying that Imam al-Hasan and Imam Zain al-Abidin are kuffar, are kuffar, who are going to end up in Jahannam.
Alright, so I think you kind of misunderstood what I said, because I said the verse is khasa for them, but then the people under the cloak were included, so they wouldn't be lying because they would be included under because of the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ. But I'm saying the ayah itself, when it was initially revealed, before the Prophet ﷺ called them to his house, yes, it is khasa for his wives based on the context. And then when he calls them to his calls Ali radiallahu anhu and his family to his house, then they become included in it. So of course, Zain al-Abidin and Hassan and these narrations aren't lying because they are included. I never excluded them from it. I said khasa is when it's initially revealed, it is khasa for them until they also are included based on the hadith. And then you also said there's nothing even weak or mursal or whatever munqati' narration that says that the wives are included in this. Or the hadith of Bayhaqi, where Salama asked the Prophet ﷺ that, am I included in this? He says yes. And this is Bayhaqi Sunan al-Kubra. Let me post it. I don't know. So if you can see the narration here, this one is pretty clear, and this is a Sahih. Al-Hakim, he graded Sahih. Bayhaqi himself grades this hadith Sahih, and he says that when after this ayah, when the Prophet says, these are my AhlulBayt, and they are my Ahl, she said, O Messenger of Allah, aren't I also from AhlulBayt? And he says, yes, you are, inshallah. So he includes them in the same context where Hassan, Hussein, Ali are all included in this ayah of AhlulBayt. He includes her in it. So the reports, the other reports of Tirmidhi and Sahih Muslim, they say you're upon good. Of course, it's been narrated through different wording, but you said there's not even something weak that says the wives are included. And this is a clear indication that, especially with the context of the ayah of the family being under the cloak, where Rasulullah includes Salama in this context of her being included in basically in this ayah. So I think it's pretty clear that also the narrations you're reporting from Hassan and Zain al-Abidin, none of them exclude the wives. They say, yes, this ayah is about us, which I never denied. I said they've been included because of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but I'm saying my khassa part was only about the initial asbab al-nuzul, that it was about the wives and they were included in it. And I think when it comes to this, I think we kind of left the part where I was talking a little bit about the grammar of the ayah. I think if you read like Lisan al-Arab of like what Sibawayh says, when it comes to using the word innama, I think it's pretty clear, and even like Al-Farra and Ibn al-Faris and like Bahr al-Muhit and other places, they say that when you use the word innama, it's like you're completely restricting it. So if there's nothing to indicate something before it or something after it, or like Ali or his family is mentioned before it or after it, that the innama, it has to connect with something that has to be around it, because innama is such a restriction that it takes the place of, like, in the Arabic language, what you call like ma and illa, where you negate and also create an exception. And so it's like if I say something like innama khalqullahu al-qamar, like Allah only created the moon, then that's kufr, because I'm saying that I'm restricting it, that Allah only created the qamar, which would be, I'd be a kafir if I say that, because I'm restricting Allah's creation only to be the qamar. And if you don't have a surrounding context to it, where like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He restricts the rijs to AhlulBayt, He is restricting it based on the previous what He has said. So He is intending to purify them based on if they establish the وَأَقِمْنَا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتِينَا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَطِيعْنَا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. So the rijs it's dependent on that thing. If you remove that thing and you're saying it's to an independent people that are not in nowhere in the context, the word innama, it's grammatically, it won't even make sense. And I'll post a quote from Sibawayh in Lisan al-Arab, where he says for innama there has to be context around it, because you cannot restrict something. Or even if this verse, if you strictly say this verse is just about, it doesn't include the wives at all, and it's just about the Ahlul Kisa, where only the people under the cloak, and that's actually kufr, because you're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has restricted Himself to like, purifying or causing the evil to be away from Ahlul Bayt and purify them completely, because you're restricting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse if there's no context around it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I'm doing this based on what وَأَقِمْنَا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتِينَا الزَّكَاةَ. So if you kind of get what I'm saying, even grammatically, it doesn't make sense to say that the people that are being talked about aren't included, but suddenly some other group from outside are the only one that it's talking about, which the context has nothing to do. Then you also have to say that, I'm going to ask a question. Do you believe that apart from إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن وَيُطَهِّرُكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, it's revealed at a different time than the ayah? And then the Sahaba or whoever, Uthman, I don't know what you guys believe if the Hadith of the Quran is or not, but he inserted it into this ayah, and it was revealed separately, or was the ayah revealed together and only this part is highlighted in the Hadith? Go for it.
You're mentioning a belief that I've never heard in my life, that at first no one, only the wives were included, but then the Prophet, who only speaks with the everything he says is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. MashaAllah, he wants to include his family, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala included them. Can you bring me one scholar who said this? Your scholars, they either say it's khas about the wives, or they say it's about the AhlulBayt. And I can show you examples. We have al-Tahawi. He shows a narration where Salama salamullahi alayha, and read the narration. You keep telling me that this the ayah was revealed and then he put them under the cloak. No, that's not what happened. I showed you the narration in Tirmidhi, and now I'm showing you another one. لما نزلت هذه الآية دعا رسول الله عليا وفاطمة وحسنا وحسينا عليهم السلام. When the ayah was revealed, Hadith al-Kisa happened. It was not after that it happened. As the ayah was revealed, it happened. You keep doing tadlis and saying, no, it was after. No. The narrations that I'm showing you clearly say, لما نزلت هذه الآية, when the ayah was revealed. So in this narration, if you keep reading it, the first one I sent, with this narration, look at what al-Tahawi says in Sharh Mushkil al-Athar. He says, فدل ما روينا في هذه الآثار من ما كان من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى سلمة. If you keep reading, he says أن المرادين بما فيها هم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلي وفاطمة وحسن وحسين عليهم السلام دون سواهم. And then he says it again in here on the second scan. So what al-Tahawi is saying is that the ayah, these narrations show that the ayah was specifically revealed about Ahlul Kisa and only them, khasa. And this is not the only scholar that says it. There's also al-Qurtubi saying it. And al-Mufham, al-Qurtubi, he says, in his Sharh of Muslim, he talks about the narration in Sahih Muslim, where Aisha says that, narrates Hadith al-Kisa, and he says, وقرأ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هذه الآية دليل على أن أهل البيت المعنيون في هذه الآية هم يغطون بذلك المرض في ذلك الوقت. The Prophet reciting the ayah over them is proof that the AhlulBayt in this ayah are the people who were covered under the cloak at that time, at that place. Then we have also Ibn Asakir in his book saying the same thing. In Kitab al-Arba'in في مناقب أمهات المؤمنين, he shows a narration that also says نزلت هذه الآية في بيتي. So I'm showing you again another narration that says that when the ayah was revealed, you keep telling me it was Hadith al-Kisa happened after the ayah was revealed. No, the ayah was revealed and Hadith al-Kisa happened. So here again, Ibn Asakir shows a narration and then he says at the end, what's underlined by red, he says والآية نزلت خاصة في هؤلاء المذكورين والله أعلم. وهؤلاء المذكورين هم رسول الله وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين. And do you know who is saying that the AhlulBayt in this narration are Ali, Fatima, والحسن والحسين? It's Salama. It says قالت وأهل البيت. Salama is saying, and the AhlulBayt are Rasulullah, Ali, Fatima, and Hassan and Hussein. Yani, does Ibn Kathir know more than Salama? Does Tabari know more than Salama? When Salama says the AhlulBayt are Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, wal-Hussein, do you know more than her? And the narration you showed me from Sunan al-Bayhaqi, yani, where is the narration? Can you at least show me the sanad? And with this narration, who said that because of this narration, the Ahlul Kisa were not in it, but were added in it because Rasulullah wanted to add them? MashaAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah want different things according to you. Go ahead.
Alright, so I think you didn't address any of my points about the grammar of the Quran itself and how grammatically it wouldn't make sense to include someone that is not part of the context, because your statement at the beginning was the wives are not part of this at all. And I think I messed up a little where I said that khasa, meaning like what I was trying to say is primarily, not specific to, but it was primarily about the wives, and the people of the cloak were included. And I'll have to look up the quotes of scholars specifying this. Like I didn't have time to actually look up all the articles and stuff, but the point being, my point, at least from my major contention with your view of the wives being completely excluded and a third party being included, is that they are not mentioned in the context at all. And grammatically, from the Quran and from the Arabic language, grammatically it doesn't make sense that someone is being mentioned that has nothing to do with the context. I mean, I can just, there's many other things that's wrong that if you include the wives completely, because even if you just take the if you take the word liyudhib, إنما يريد الله ليذهب, it has like a lam ta'liliya, which by itself implies like there has to be consequence for it. Like if I say something like I came to see you in Arabic language, like ji'tu li azurak, I came to see you. So why did I come to see you? So it automatically, with the lam ta'liliya, it means you have to go back to the previous automatically, and grammatically it makes no sense, because Ali and Ahlul Kisa are not mentioned anywhere before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Mailk. And so my main contention with this, I know you're bringing people that are saying that Ahlul Kisa are included. I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying for you to oppose the Quran grammatically and say there's grammatical error in the Quran where the people that are in the context are not included and someone from a third party is included, it doesn't make sense. And even like I think Mufassirs like Tusi, let me pull up his quote. They say that when it comes to this ayah, that Allah wants nothing except to remove the rijs, he says it's in the context from AhlulBayt. So even he recognizes that grammatically you cannot remove rijs from somebody that hasn't been mentioned at all. So even he says in this context from AhlulBayt, but he doesn't give the context, which is, I mean, I think it's a deception that he doesn't give the context, but he just says, let me pull up the quotes. I think it is in Tibyan. So this is a quote. So he's saying that essentially he says that Allah wants nothing to except to remove the rids in this context from Ahlulbayt. So even he recognizes that the grammatical structure of this ayah, it is so restricted that it has to play with the context. That without context, there's no way you can include a third party in this ayah and say this ayah is grammatically correct. And then you also forgot to answer my question about, is this ayah, was it revealed partially at one point and revealed partially at another, and then they just combined it together at some later point and said, okay, this is one ayah. If it's not, if it's two ayah, then you have to say there's tahrif of the Quran. And instead of Surah Al-Ahzab having, how many ayah does it have? It has 73 ayah. Instead of 73 ayah, you have to say Surah Al-Ahzab has 74 ayahs.
Alright, so bro, the statement you just made, yani, just showed that you don't know what you're talking about. If you read, all of your scholars say that in one ayah, some parts can be revealed at different times. There's actually an ayah, As-Suyuti in Itqan al-Ulum al-Quran, he says that the same ayah, it was 4 parts of it were revealed at different times. And in the same ayah, one part was revealed at one time, then the second part at a different time, then the third part at a different time, then the fourth part at a different time. One ayah having different parts revealed at different time doesn't mean tahrif al-Quran. You do know that, right? And yes, وَقُرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ and إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ was not revealed at the same time. That's exactly what your books say, and that's exactly what our books say. When I showed you multiple hadiths that say لَمَّا نَزَلَتْ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ, where does it start from? إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ. And inshallah, I can try to find the scan, but in the account of Suyuti, he literally says one ayah was revealed at 4 different times, and it was split into four different parts, and all of these 4 parts were revealed at 4 different times. And does Suyuti believe in tahrif? And this is not something that only Suyuti mentioned. Many of your scholars mentioned. All of your scholars mentioned. I can literally get you every single one of your scholars mentioning this. That in one ayah, it can be revealed at different times. You keep repeating the argument of the grammar. Habibi, I'm not going to rely upon grammar with the Quran, because we literally got grammar from the Quran. You want to apply grammar to the Quran, and this is exactly the same thing that I showed you your own scholars say. If you read these 2 scans, Ibn Taymiyyah, who's Shaykh al-Islam for you, yani, don't you want to follow Shaykh al-Islam? And Albani as well, they say you cannot rely upon Ahlul Lugha with the Quran. With the Quran, you get the Tafsir. That's it. That's it. Yani, are you gonna go against Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah? Bro, are you gonna go against your shuyukh? And again, I told you which scholar said that the ayah at first was revealed about the wives, and then because the Prophet wanted to, yani his family members were added. And yes, you quoted At-Tusi saying that the context of the ayah was AhlulBayt. Yes, it is. The context of the ayah is AhlulBayt. But the second part of the ayah is about specific members of the AhlulBayt, and the first part is about specific members of the AhlulBayt. And yani, if you say that the second part of the ayah is about all of the Ahlul Bayt, yani, according to a narration in your books, even the cats are a part of Ahlul Bayt. Yani, are the cats purified? I just sent the narration in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So it says فقال سمعت رسول الله عن أبا قتادة قال فسمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. So he says that even cats are from the Ahlul Bayt, and according to Shu'aib al-Arnaut, the hadith is sahih. So are the cats purified? So stop telling me, yani, according to the grammar. I told you, your own scholars say that the grammar has nothing to do with it. You don't look at the grammar. You look at the tafsir of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. Go ahead.
So when the Mufassirin, they do tafsir of the Quran, the first thing they do is tafsir Quran bil Quran. So that's the first principle. So the lugha here, meaning to rely on the lugha especially when it comes to when opposes hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, obviously you don't prefer the lugha, but when a mufassir is initially doing the tafsir, of course he's going to rely on the lugha. How's he supposed to get a meaning out of it if he doesn't rely on the lugha? So Ibn Taymiyyah's statement doesn't go against what I'm saying, that grammatically for you to include subjects that aren't included doesn't make any sense. And this cat thing is like a straw man, because I said that if the cats were mentioned in the context of these ayahs coming to this part of the ayah, then yeah, you can say cats are included, but cats aren't even included. It's talking about the wives, so there's no way you can include the cats. But if you don't put a restriction on who the AhlulBayt is outside of the report just grammatically, then technically by your definition you would have to include the cats, because just based on the Quran itself. I said if you drop the Quran to some Bedouin living in the desert and he reads the Quran, without any doubt he's gonna come to the conclusion, because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says the Quran is the Quran is in clear Arabic. Like anybody who speaks Arabic should, when he reads the Arabic, then he should understand clearly what it is. He doesn't have to. I mean, the Hadith obviously clarify what it is, but if someone reads the apparent of the Quran and it's in the clear Arabic of what the early Arabs would understand it as, they would initially take it from the asl that is clearly talking about the wives. And of course, the Hadith clarifies that the Ahlul Kisa are also included in it. But even without the Hadith, primarily looking at the asl of the ayah, I mean, it is without a shadow of a doubt, it's talking about the wives. Let's say, for a hypothetical, if you did not know about this narration about Ahlul Kisa and you just read the Quran at its primary, like the asl of the Quran, if you read it without any doubt, you will even come out with saying this is talking about the wives, because there's nothing to indicate in the Quran itself, because the first thing of the Quran when you do tafsir is tafsir Quran bil Quran. The Hadith is secondary. That's anybody who does tafsir knows that's the primary way to do tafsir. And primarily, if you look at the asl of the Quran, without any doubt, it is talking about the wives. And also, I think you wanted to, at the beginning, you mentioned something about, you wanted to talk about rijs, and if that indicates if the AhlulBayt are infallible or not. And you said in your guys' opinion, or the SHIA opinion, that when it comes to rijs, it means it implies infallibility for the AhlulBayt. Well, I would say it doesn't imply infallibility for AhlulBayt, because you guys have a narration in Kafi from Ja'far al-Sadiq who says rijs means like doubt. And he says that I swear by Allah that we, the AhlulBayt, never doubt in our Lord. And I think it's in Kafi, I forget the chapter, it's like the chapter of appointment by Allah and His Messenger of the Imams or something like that. I'll have to look it up. And this narration is graded authentic by Majlisi and other of your scholars. So for you to now say a rijs encompasses many meanings and should not be restricted to one meaning, you have to provide authentic narrations from your AhlulBayt who you consider to be infallible that provide an alternate or general meaning to rijs that says that includes infallibility and doesn't just include doubt. With Ja'far Sadiq and Kafi, he restricts us to doubt, and we don't have anything from your imams that say that it includes anything else. So I hope you can provide something from your imams that says there's something that indicates that there's infallibility and that the word rijs is wide open and it's not restricted.
So I'm gonna start by addressing what you said at first, and then I'll get to the second point. So you keep saying, yani, let's say we didn't have any tafsir and we only rely upon the Quran. You know, what mentality is that? Right now you have your tafsir, yani. What kind of argument is that, yani, if we didn't have the Quran? And I mean, if you didn't have the tafsir, you have the tafsir, you use it both. Stop repeating this nonsense. And I actually showed the narration, yani, like 10 minutes ago, and you completely skipped it. You didn't, yani, talk about it at all. But before I show it, I want to show you what what I said before. So this is in Mahani al-Quran, written by al-Farra al-Hanbali. He's a famous Hanbali scholar, a Salafi scholar. He mentions what I mentioned before, that the ayah in Surah 65, ayah 4, it was revealed in 4 different parts at 4 different times. Does al-Farra al-Hanbali believe in 4 different ayahs? Yani, you mentioned this before. You mentioned if you believe that Ayat al-Tathir was revealed at 2 different times, that you believe in Tahrif because you believe in 2 ayahs. And where did you get this from?
I'm just going to interrupt you. I asked you a question. I didn't say that is what you believe. I said I asked you a question before, like 2 segments ago, and I said, do you believe that this ayah and the other ayah are disconnected, and do you believe they should be separate ayah and Surah Al-Ahzab should have one more verse? If you do believe that, then it's tahrif. That's what I said. I'm not saying that that is what you're saying, that because it's split up.
That's fine. That's fine, bro. Please stop interrupting. Yeah, but you did claim that if you believe these ayahs, these 2 parts were revealed at 2 different times, you claim this is tahrif. You claimed that this means that You believe in two different ayahs. You claim this, everyone heard it. So does Al-Farra al-Hanbali, does he believe in tahrif? And the hadith that I showed before, and you did not address at all, you completely skipped it. It's the hadith of Aisha during the leadership of Muawiyah. Yani you cannot claim that this was before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the ayah in Surah al-Tathir, I mean in Ayat al-Tathir, it was before Ayat al-Tathir was revealed. Aisha says, Allah did not reveal anything from the Quran about us except what was connected with the declaration of my innocence. Yani Surah An-Nur. Aisha. Even Aisha, yani one of the wives. You want to claim it's about Aisha? Aisha is claiming that it's not about her. Do you know more than al-Mu'mineen Aisha? Do you know more than her about the tafsir of the Quran? Here's a Maliki scholar. He basically describes who claims it's about Ahlul Kisa and who claims it's about the wives. So in his book, he says that some of the companions said that the AhlulBayt are Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, al-Hussein, and this was the opinion of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh. He said this from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he also says that, I'm going to show you another scholar later that actually adds other companions. But he instead says, وَهُوَ قَوْل جَمَاعَةٍ مِنَ الصَّحَابَةِ. So he says Abi Sa'id al-Khudri said this, and a group among the companions also said it's about Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, al-Hussein. And then, look at what he says. And then he says, and Akrima. And Akrima said it's specifically about the wives. So now, if you want to take the opinion that it's specifically about the wives, I showed you that this is a problematic opinion. Because if you claim it's specifically about the wives, then Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam is a kafir, a'udhu billah, and Imam Zain al-Abidin is a kafir, a'udhu billah. So then this opinion is rejected. So we only have the first opinion, that it's the opinion, like the Maliki scholar says, it's the opinion of the Jama'ah of the Sahaba, a big group among the companions. So this opinion of the big group among the companions, out of whom I remember is Anas bin Malik, Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, Salama, Aisha. These are the four that another scholar cites. I'll show it to you after I finish, after you speak right now. So this is the opinion of four scholars against the opinion of Akrama. Like I showed you, the opinion of Akrama that it's specifically about the wives is problematic. If you want to take it and takfir Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, go ahead, Habib, go ahead, do it. But now that I'm showing you that this opinion is to be rejected. Otherwise, you have to takfir two of the Imams. So we only have one more opinion, that it's specifically about Ahlul Kisa and only them. And please address the narration I showed from Bukhari. Don't just ignore it like you did before. Aisha is claiming that no ayah in the Quran was revealed about her except the ayahs in Surah An-Nur. Do you know more than Aisha? And tell me. Aisha is claiming it's not about her. On the other hand, we have Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam claiming it's about him. Is this a coincidence? And please, please, for the sake of God, stop using the argument of the grammar. I showed you how even your own scholars, I showed you Ibn Taymiyyah, your Shaykh al-Islam, I showed you him saying that you cannot use Ahlul Lugha. I'm going to post it again because I don't think you read it. Please read it. He says Ahlul Lugha, you cannot use Ahlul Lugha to do tafsir of the Quran. You cannot. That's his opinion. He says that you specifically need to use the tafsir of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, so I think one of the first points you addressed was like when I said in the hypothetical, if you drop the Quran like the middle of the desert, you said when we have the tafsir, we have to rely on the tafsir. Yeah, but tafsir, we don't hold that the mufassirin are somebody infallible, because we know some of the mufassirin, they differ on some interpretation of the ayahs and stuff. So for you to say that okay, we are bound by these mufassirs, I mean, if we go by the kind of like ground rules that you laid out, that we have to go by the mufassir, that I can easily say, okay, Tabari for Ahl Sunnah al Jama'ah is probably one of the most highest esteemed, and if he says that this verse is primarily revealed for the wives, then if I'm quote unquote following the mufassirin, since we have the tafsirs, then you can't blame anybody if they take Tabari's opinion from Ibn Abbas that this verse is revealed for the wives. So of course if you present other tafsir and I present some other tafsirs, of course it's going to be tafsir whichever you prefer. So that's what in order to examine it academically, you have to go back to the ayah, because again, the people that are doing tafsir of these ayahs are again fallible men, and we don't hold as Imam Mailk said, كل يراد من كلامه ويراد إلا صاحب هذا القبر, that every statement of ours can be taken from and rejected except the companion of this grave, which is the Prophet ﷺ. So we don't hold the Mufassirin to a standard that, whatever they say is like be all and end all, that we're going to live and die by that, because as I said, some of the Mufassirin differ. And if we go by what you said, that we have to stick to the tafsirs that are there, then of course somebody's going to say, I'm going to stick to Tabari, you stick to whatever maybe Shia tafsir or other tafsir you want to stick to. So
Oh yeah, again, sorry. So you said that I claimed that we cannot rely upon the tafsir. No, this is not something that I claimed. I showed you your Shaykh al-Islam. I showed you Ibn Taymiyyah saying you cannot rely upon the Ahlul Lugha. You have to rely upon the tafsir. It's not me claiming it. It's your Shaykh al-Islam. And again, you keep telling me that At-Tabari said that it's about the wives. Habibi, who cares about At-Tabari? I'm showing you Aisha saying it's not about her. I'm showing you Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam saying it's about him. And then you quote me At-Tabari? I quote you the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying that it's about Ahlul Kisa. You quote me At-Tabari? And is this the religion of At-Tabari or the religion of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Yani Aisha says it's not about her. You quote me At-Tabari saying it's about Aisha? You've got to be kidding, right? Who cares about what At-Tabari says when Aisha herself is saying it's not about her? When Aisha says it's not about her, how are you going to quote me At-Tabari saying, no, it's not, it's about Aisha? And I showed you how the opinion of At-Tabari is problematic, and I'm going to keep repeating it because I don't think you heard me. The opinion of At-Tabari that it's specifically about the wives is problematic, because if you say it's specifically about the wives, and only the wives, which is the opinion of At-Tabari, then you have to takfir Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, because he claimed it's about him. He says وَنَحْنُ أَهْلُ الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيَذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Same thing with Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He claimed that the ayah was about him, so you have to takfir him. So you quoting me the opinion of At-Tabari, I told you it's a problematic opinion. You cannot take it. If you take it, you become a kafir because you're takfiring Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Go ahead.
okay, so I read the hadith of Bukhari about Aisha, and this is the hadith of Marwan. So in this one, she's talking about what was revealed specifically about her, and in relation to Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr, when Marwan claimed that قال أفل لكما, that ayah was revealed about him. But this verse is not Aisha excluding herself from the verse of Surah Al-Ahzab, because that makes absolutely no sense in the context, because there are many verses in the Quran, especially verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed about orders of hijab for the wives that were specific to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, where they could not even reveal their shape. And even like Aisha, she had that curtain where nobody can pass that curtain, and the only people we know that could pass that curtain were Urwa, her nephew. So that hadith had nothing to do with her excluding herself from the ayah of Surah Al-Ahzab, because that's specifically talking about her and her brother in that context. It's not talking about the wives, because if that's the case, then all the ayahs that are revealed specifically about the wives of the Prophet ﷺ in the Quran, especially about hijab and stuff that were specific to them, you would have to say that no, it doesn't apply to them either, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing them specifically. So are you saying that if this is a general statement about all the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, that the ayahs that are specific about them observing hijab aren't applicable to them anymore? So I mean, the hadith is you quoted that totally out of context, which has nothing to do with Aisha radiallahu anha herself excluding herself from the verse of Surah Al-Ahzab. Second point, I don't think you've still addressed the point where I talked about. We said at the initial we'll talk about if this ayah itself gives the people of Under the Cloak and the children of Ali ibn Abi Talib, infallibility or their ma'soom. And I said that you have to provide a quote from one of your imams, an authentic quote, that says this is what this word means, and what Ja'far Sadiq restricts it to. There's no restriction for that. So, and again, one other thing about the tafsir, I'm not saying that. So I'm saying, let me be clear again. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. You said we don't. You quote Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah said do not go on the lugha. Fine. He said for an Ami, of course, you don't go on the lugha itself. You obviously rely on someone like an authority, like Sibawayh is an authority. I mean, Sibawayh is one of the greatest scholars of the Arabic language. But you're saying we don't rely on the lugha, we go to the tafsir. How does the Mufassir do tafsir of the Quran? Outside of the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ, he bases it on the lugha. Or you cannot even do tarjuma, much less tafsir, without using the lugha. Or you can't understand half the Quran if you don't use the lugha. So that makes no sense that you're saying, okay, go and rely on the tafsir, don't rely on the lugha, and then when the tafsir differ, then we still can't go back to the lugha. I mean, that makes no sense. And then you also saying that you have to takfir Hasan and Zain al-Abidin based on that. You do if you restrict us specifically to them and say no one else is included. We're saying based on the hadith, they would be included in it. But the verse primarily is about the wives in the context, and they are also included in it. So that doesn't mean that I have to takfir them because I believe they're included in it. I think you're kind of making it like black or white, that one way or the other, that it has to be either the wives or it has to be them, and one way or the other, you gotta takfir either way. I don't get what you were trying to get out of that.
No, you completely misunderstood me because you're the one who's quoting the opinion of al-Tabari. If you're gonna quote the opinion of al-Tabari, then take his opinion. Don't take one part that you like and reject the other because you don't like it. If you quote al-Tabari, then take his full opinion. The opinion of al-Tabari is that it's khasa ala ummahat al-mu'mineen, specifically about the wives of the Prophet, not about the wives and the others are included. That's your opinion. And I even asked you for one scholar who had that opinion, and you could not provide me with one scholar who has that opinion. And even your scholars, when they talk about the different opinions, they quote only two opinions. I'm going to show you another scholar. I showed you a Maliki scholar before. Now I'm going to show you Ibn al-Jawzi. You know Ibn al-Jawzi, right? The student of Ibn Taymiyyah. And he says that there are a couple opinions about who this ayah is about. So he quotes at first Ibn Abbas and Akrama, saying it's about the wives of the Prophet. But the thing is, oh no, actually he doesn't. But in another book, someone does. So he quotes. He says that Anas bin Malik, Aisha, and Salama, and I showed you before Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. So now we have four companions. He says that their opinion was that this ayah is about Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, al-Hussein. So we have four companions believing it's about Ali, al-Hasan, al-Hussein, and Fatima, alayhum salam. And then he says there was a third opinion of al-Dahhak and al-Sajad, two tabi'is. No one cares about their opinion because we have companions. Who's going to take the opinion of tabi'is who did not meet the Prophet when we have the opinion of four companions? So these companions say that it's about Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, al-Hussein. And this is Ibn al-Jawzi saying it. It's not me. It's one of your biggest scholars. And you keep telling me that, yani, what is the meaning of the ayah? Bring me proof that this ayah is about infallibility. We chose one topic at first. We chose to discuss who it is about. But if you want to bring this topic, sure, here are four hadiths where the imams specifically say that we are infallible. And they are all sahih or hasan. So I'm going to get this out of the way. So now let's get back to the original topic. So I'm showing you your own scholars. Four companions, Anas, Aisha, Salama, and I showed you Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. They all say Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, al-Hussein. They say it's about them. So, and then you told me that Ahlul Lugha, that we need, you keep repeating it, that we need to look at the context first. Bro, how many times do I need to show you the scan of Ibn Taymiyyah? Yani, are you rejecting Ibn Taymiyyah? I don't get this. Yani, this is the first time I see a Salafi. I don't know if you're Salafi, but I know that you're an Athari. This is the first time I see an Athari yani, completely dismiss Ibn Taymiyyah and say that his opinion is absurd. You said that it's absurd that we do not rely upon the lugha. Habibi, I'm showing you Ibn Taymiyyah saying it. He says that we do not rely upon the lugha. Ahlul Lugha to make the tafsir of the Quran. He clearly says we rely upon the narrations of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you saying it's absurd. You're saying that Ibn Taymiyyah is absurd. And if that's what you believe, sure, go ahead.
So first of all, Ibn Jawzi is not the student of Ibn Taymiyyah. That's Ibn Qayyim. Ibn Jawzi died 597, so he's like 130 years before Ibn Taymiyyah was 100, almost 100 years before Ibn Taymiyyah came around. Second, Ibn Taymiyyah's statement doesn't go against me, because if I'm not sure if you're reading the scan or not, but he's saying that the aqwal of Ahlul Lugha is not a hujjah. So of course the aqwal of Ahlul Lugha is not going to be a hujjah over the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. But you're saying abandon Lugha completely. I mean, I've never heard anybody ever in the history of Islam say that you don't, when you look at the Quran, you abandon the Lugha itself. I mean, how can you do tafsir? I mean, how can you do tafsir, much less do tarjuma? I mean, you can't even do tarjuma without the Lugha, and you're running to tafsir and trying to derive stuff from the Quran. That makes absolutely no sense, that you're abandoning the Lugha. I mean, Ibn Taymiyyah is not even going, of course we take Ibn Taymiyyah, but obviously we don't say Ibn Taymiyyah is infallible like you guys do to your imams. Of course, if his statement contradicts something that is stated by someone else, but I'm not even rejecting Ibn Taymiyyah's statement like you're claiming I'm rejecting it, because he's saying that the aqwal of Ahlul Lugha is not a hujjah. Of course, it's not a hujjah over the aqwal of the Prophet ﷺ. I mean, you're saying abandon Lugha completely, which makes zero sense, because even the quotes you're providing from Ibn Jawzi and stuff, who is Dahak? Dahak is the student of Ibn Abbas, and if you read Ibn Jawzi's what's the book called? In his Mawdu'at, he says that whenever we see a narration from Ad-Dahak or Qatada, and he does not narrate, like, or he does tadlis, basically he doesn't say, we automatically assume it goes to Ibn Abbas. So automatically outside of Ikramah, when you quote Ibn Jawzi and you say Qala Dahak, yeah, by automatically quoting Dahak, you know that that's the view of Ibn Abbas. So you have to provide a chain to Ibn Abbas that wasn't Ibn Abbas's position. So it goes back to my point initially. We have tafsirs. Okay, some of the Sahaba differed. Some of them said it only includes them. Some say it includes, it's primarily about the wives, and the wives are included in this ayah, which you say the wives are not included. So again, we see the scholars are differing on both sides. So at this point, you have to go back to the Quran, which is something you're refusing to do. You're just basing it on, we're going to go tafsir. We don't hold that this guy's tafsir is the only tafsir that has there's no mistakes in it, and we're going to rely on it completely. I mean, we don't take tafsir or tafasir like you guys take your guys' imams. And these ahadith you provided of the imam saying that we're infallible, I didn't say that. I said provide from the Quran itself, provide from this ayah any of the imams saying that this ayah is evidence of us being infallible, because this ayah itself is restricted by Ja'far al-Sadiq, and you have to provide something that because you said initially when we started talking, we were talking about who are included in this ayah, and the second part we said we would talk about is, does this ayah give evidence for the imams being infallible? And you said initially when we started that you said this ayah does. So you have to provide evidence from your imams, which is authentic isnad by Shi'i standards, doesn't have to be Sunni standards, that from this ayah, the imam said that from this ayah we derive that we're infallible and we don't make mistakes. So again, stop quoting Ibn Taymiyyah over and over again, because Ibn Taymiyyah he's not supporting you. He's not saying that we don't go to the lugha for doing tafsir in the Quran.
Did you even read it? That's exactly what he's saying. That you're saying no, that's not what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying. He literally says, if you read it, we do not rely upon Ahlul Lugha. We rely upon the tafsir of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I would please dare you to read it and translate it word for word and tell me how he's not saying this. I would actually dare you. And I don't want to read it. I want you to read it. Read it, translate it one word for word, and tell me what he's saying. Inshallah, I'm asking you, please read it and translate it word for word. You're saying that's not what he's saying. Yes, that's exactly what he's saying. And yeah, and you keep going to these same arguments that I've answered يعني, a million times. I keep answering them. Ahlul Lugha. I'm showing you Ibn Taymiyyah is saying you do not rely upon Ahlul Lugha. So I'm just going to add other narrations. So this is a narration Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and it's narrated by Anas bin Malik. And as you can see, the Muhakkik Ahmad Shakir says Isnadu Hasan, والحديث رواه الترمذي, and at-Tirmidhi said قال حسن غريب. Now غريب does not mean that the narration is weird. غريب means that it was ahad. He did not find a different sanad for it. And then he says وصححه الحاكم ووافقه الذهبي. So you have four scholars saying two scholars saying it's sahih, two scholars saying it's hasan. Now the narration it says عن أنس بن مالك أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يمر بيت فاطمة 6 أشهر. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to go in front of the house of Fatima عليه السلام for 6 months. 6 months. إذا خرج إلى الفجر فيقول الصلاة يا أهل البيت إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. So he went in front of the house during the morning prayer, during Fajr, and recited the verse. And look at where he starts. إنما يريد. يعني you claimed before that if you separate the verse, you believe in tahrif. MashaAllah, the Prophet ﷺ believes in tahrif. So he used to go in front of the house and say that, recite the verse for 6 months. For 6 months. Can you bring me one narration where he goes to the house of the wives and recites it? One narration, please, one narration. Yani, is this just luck that the narration, he only reads it about the AhlulBayt. He brings them under the cloak and recites it. He goes to their house for 6 months and recites it. But mashallah, no, it's about the wives. Mashallah. It's about the wives. Why? Because al-Tabari said so. Yani, apparently al-Tabari is more of a hujjah than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you told me that, yeah, and what is your proof that this narration means infallibility? So we have narrations from Muhammad bin Muslim and al-Kafi. We have actually a couple narrations. All of them are sahih. I do not have them right now, but I can find them for you if you give me like 10 minutes. So these narrations, they say that when the ayah was revealed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the hadith of al-Kisa, he recited it over them, and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq and the Prophet, I remember, he said that this means infallibility. So yes, we do have narrations saying it means infallibility, and I'll bring them to you inshallah. So now, please, answer my points. Please read the quote of Ibn Taymiyyah, read it, okay, and translate what he's saying, and then answer my question. How come the Prophet always recites this verse about the Ahlul Bayt, goes in front of their house for 6 months? Hadith al-Kisa happened many times. It happened in the house of Aisha, in the house of Salama, in the house of other companions. I remember there's a narration from Mu'tila, one of the companions. There's other narrations from other companions as well. It happened many times. This means that the Prophet recited the ayah over them many times. But apparently the ayah is not about them. The ayah is about the wives, and maybe the Prophet forgot, according to you, because you guys believe that he can forget, right? That's one of your beliefs. Yeah, the Prophet forgot that it's about the wives. The Quran says, ما ينطق على الهوى إلا هو وحي يوحى. He does not speak from his own inclinations, rather everything he says comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you guys say no, he forgets. He forgets, and maybe he forgot that it's about the wives, right? Maybe. Tabari knows more than him, right?
So again, you're completely strawmanning my position. Nobody's saying that. First of all, this hadith, I think Albani grades is weak. I have to look up the isnad for it, because I remember seeing it in his silsila, and I'm pretty sure Albani grades it as da'if. But I have to do takhreej of this hadith, and get back to you on that. But let's for the sake of argument, let's assume this hadith is not even Hasan Gharib. Let's say it's sahih. Him reciting it again, you have to provide evidence to say that from the Prophet ﷺ, because you're saying your tafsir is from Rasulullah ﷺ. So you have to provide evidence from Rasulullah ﷺ that excludes his wives. Him referring here and there to his daughter, of course, I already said at the beginning, we consider Ahlul Kisa to be in this ayah. But what I'm saying is the primary or revelation was about the wives, and they were included. That's what I mean. I think you're completely strawmanning my thing, where you're saying that I don't consider Fatima Ali and all his progeny to be included in this ayah. We're saying they're included, but we're saying the asl of the ayah is for the wives. That's been my point since the beginning. That's the first statement I made, was the asl of this ayah is for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and the people under the cloak are included. And what else did you want me to address? Oh, you wanted me to address Ibn Taymiyyah. Yeah, Ibn Taymiyyah says, I'm reading it right here. في ذلك إلى أقوال أهل اللغة. So the أهل اللغة are not a hujjah when it comes to that. And I'm saying I agree that أهل اللغة are not a hujjah, of course, especially when it comes against the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ. My exact point was that you don't abandon the lugha itself. Of course, if the Ahlul Lugha, if they obviously differ about something, you don't do tafdeel of them over the aqwal of Rasulullah sallallahu. But if I'm asking you, if you read the Quranic ayah, do you have to read the tafsir in order to understand the Quranic ayah, or is the Quran clear? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the Quran is clear. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. We have made the Quran easy to be recited, or we have وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ, that we have made the Quran easy to like memorize or recite or remember. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not saying the truth here, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made the Quran easy, that anytime we see an ayah or we can't understand the lagwi meaning of the ayah, we have to run to the tafsir and see what the mufassir said in the ayah? No. So I mean, not only are what you're trying to claim that we abandon the lugha completely, it just makes absolutely no sense. Like, how do the people that do forget tafsir, the people that do like this tarjuma, that just translate, how do they translate it? They don't run to the tafsir to translate, because none of the tafsir, especially the early tafsir, are even in the languages that they want to translate into. They're obviously based on the lugha. So I mean, I'm not sure what you're trying to say, that you abandon the lugha completely when it comes to tafsir. Of course, what the point is, we don't have anything clear from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that excludes the wives. We have Sahaba, we have Tabi'een that differ, and when they differ, we have to go back and look at the lugha, because it's like when it comes to like the madhahibs and stuff. When the madhahibs differ on something, you go back and check what the evidence is from the Quran and Sunnah. You don't base it because some quote unquote mufassir said it, or some quote unquote sahabi did it. We don't do blind taqleed to that. You obviously have to check the evidence for whatever they're bringing. Now, without the evidence, you can't say, oh, because quote unquote so and so said it. Yeah, I mean, there's many things about what do you call the fatwa of the Sahaba that in Ahl Sunnah that we no longer follow because of the aqwal of other Sahaba on top of that. Again, as I said, they aren't infallible to us. So you're bringing, I mean, Ibn al-Jawzi is a clear example of how Dahak, who's reporting from Ibn Abbas, because Dahak, he only reports from Ibn Abbas unless he makes it clear it's from himself. And that's pretty clear. Qurtubi mentions that. Ibn Jawzi himself mentions that. So so you're clearly indicating my point was, which there's a difference here. And again, in order for that, you have to go back to the Quran itself and look at it. If someone is differing on the Quran itself, you have to go back to the source and look at it. And which something you're ignoring and you're bombarding with this. Of course, that's fine. But we're seeing there's a clear difference. And when there's a difference, you have to go back to the asal of the nusus, which is the Quran.
Yeah, by the way, from the start up until now, other than you telling me that that's what the Quran seems to say, that it's about the wives, you have brought zero proof that it's about the wives. You literally brought zero proof other than you saying that when I read the Quran, yani, what's apparent is that it's about the wives. Bring me one scholar that is agreeing and saying exactly what you said. Bring me one scholar that says that at first it was revealed about the wives, and then Ahlul Kisa, because the Prophet wanted to, they were also added among them. Bring me one scholar saying that. One scholar. There is no scholars that says that. That's literally an opinion that you invented 10 minutes after I trapped you with you takfiring Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Your scholars, like I showed you, All of them, they quote the opinions of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, and they say that the Sahaba and the Tabi'een were of two opinion. One, it's about Ahlul Kisa. Two, it's khasa about the wives. That's it. There is no third opinion. The third opinion is coming from you. There is no scholar that you've quoted that says it. And like I told you again, يعني, and you said that when Ad-Dahhak narrates, he narrates only from Ibn Abbas. What's your proof for this? He says قال Ad-Dahhak. He didn't say قال Ad-Dahhak عن Ibn Abbas. And the thing is, even if it was from Ibn Abbas, it would be rejected because, like I showed you, their opinion is that it's specifically about the wives. If it's specifically about the wives, then Imam al-Hasan is a kafir because he claims it's about him. And don't try to tell me that they believe it's specifically about the wives and then the AhlulBayt were included unless you bring me proof. Bring me proof. And don't just innovate in front of us. Bring me proof that someone said it's about the wives and then the AhlulBayt were included because the Prophet wanted to. No, wait 1 second. And also, I just want to address the Ahlul Lugha narration. So yeah, you read it and you admit it. You said, Ibn Taymiyyah said that we rely upon Tafsir and not Ahlul Lugha. So now apply it. Stop trying to make up your own Tafsir because that's what you understand of it. Apply what Ibn Taymiyyah said and use the Tafsir. All of the tafsir, they say two things, like I said it 1 minute ago. They say Ahlul Kisa or specifically the wives. Specifically Ahlul Kisa or specifically the wives. If you say specifically Ahlul Kisa, then good for you. If you say specifically the wives, then I'm waiting for you to takfir Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam and Imam Zain al-Abidin because they claimed it's about them. Yalla, go ahead.
Where does Dahak in this report of Ibn al-Jawzi you posted say it's only about the wives?
It says والثالث أنهم أهل الرسول وأزواجه قاله الضحاك وقاله الزجاج. It's in the black cover.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. Dahak and Sajad, they don't restrict it to. They don't say it's restricted to the wives in that screenshot of yours.
Oh, okay. I was addressing the narration of Ibn Abbas that you showed, the Sahih narration. And I told you, Ad-Dahhak, no one cares about his opinion. He was not there when the Prophet was there. When we have Salama, and we have Anas, and we have Aisha, and we have Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, and who cares about Ad-Dahhak? We have people who actually met the Prophet.
No, but yeah, you said that my position where I said that the wives are included. The wives are the primary ones, and the Ahlul Kisa are also included. You said nobody says that, but Dahak is saying and the judge is saying what I'm saying, that the wives are included in it. So they've got the same position that I do, and you said I just invented it out of nowhere. Nobody else has this position when your screenshot clearly shows that they have the same position.
What?
Because they're not restricting it.
Wait, what do you mean? I don't get it.
They're not restricting it.
Wait, read it. What are you talking about? I don't get it.
No, you said that if I'm restricting it to the wives, then I have to make takfir of Zain al-Abidin al-Hasan because they included themselves in it, and you said man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar. And then you said you just invent. Meaning me myself. I just did like a bid'ah and invented something that no one has ever said, which is the wives are included in this ayah along with Ahlul Kisa, and you're saying no, it has to be khasa, specific for Ahlul Kisa one way, or the wives. It cannot be both. And you said there's nobody. Provide me one scholar or somebody that says what you said because you just did a bid'ah and you invented something. I'm saying your screenshot of Ibn al-Jawzi with the black cover, if you read Dahak and Zajjaj, they don't restrict it to just the wives. So you said I did a bid'ah and I came up with something nobody else has said. Dahak and Zajjaj's opinion agrees with mine.
Oh, you're saying that al-Dahhak had that opinion?
No, I'm saying Dahak because you said the opinion I had, which is the verse includes the wives and the people under the cloak. You said no, that's a bid'ah position. That's a bid'ah position. You just innovated something in front of us because it has to be specific to the wives, or it has to be specific to people under the cloak, which is your position.
Yeah,
And you
where
said
does it the haq listen, where does it the haq say that it was the wives and then the others were included later on? They're added later on. He doesn't say that.
I never said they were added. I'm saying
No,
the
you did say
I'm,
they were added. No, you did.
I'm saying after the verse. Yes, I'm saying I said after the verse
No,
was
bro,
revealed,
don't say you didn't say
they
it.
were
You did say
included.
it, bro.
Yes, I said it. I said
Subhanallah.
after the verse was revealed, they were included. That's what I said. After the verse was revealed, they were included.
Bro, you keep changing positions. You literally told me
This is,
for like 30 minutes that it was revealed
yes.
for the wives, and then because Rasulullah wanted, the others were added. No.
When did I say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted? You just made that
Yeah,
up. I never said that.
you
Go
did,
back
bro.
if you're recording this. Go back to the recording and find me one place where I said Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted.
Yeah, you literally said because the Prophet recited it over them, they were added. Yeah,
No,
I would.
I said that I Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted, and because he wanted, Allah included him. When did I say that?
That's literally what you said, bro, from the beginning. You just changed opinions because
I
I
said
blocked you, and
after the
there's
verse was
absolutely no
revealed
scholars
about the
that says
wives.
this.
What?
Yeah, bro, you just changed opinions because I asked you to provide one scholar that has that opinion, and there is none. That's why you just changed opinions. Yes, you did say it.
I said Rasulullah wanted.
Yeah, you said because he recited it, they were later added. Is that not what you said? Are you denying it? And do you want me
No,
to?
I said
Do you want me to
play
go
it
back
back.
to the clip and? I mean,
Sure.
we cannot right now, but I will, and I will show
Okay.
you.
Him doing that itself is an indication that these verses weren't applied to them until they were called. Okay, go back to the clip and find me where I said
Okay.
that because Rasulullah wanted later they were added.
All right. Listen. Right now,
Because
Yani.
my position
Sure.
was the
I
verse
will
was
listen. Listen. I will show
sure.
you the clip right now. Tell me what your position is.
What I said at the beginning. The verse was
No,
revealed
right now. Tell me
about
what your
the
position is.
okay. My position right now is the verse was revealed about the wives. The Prophet ﷺ, in the hadith of Salama called the people under the cloak, and they are included in it, or they were included. But the verse itself was not revealed with the people in the house under the cloak. After it was revealed, then they were added. But it wasn't because
Bro, that's.
Rasulullah wanted or
I
something.
literally asked you 1 minute ago. Is that your position? You told me where did I say they were added, and now you just said yes, they were added. Bro,
No, you said I said that
like, are you
Rasulullah
messing with me
wanted
or
it.
what?
No, because your position was that Rasulullah wanted it, so they were added. I'm saying
Okay, why
they
were they added?
what?
Why were they added if it was not that the Prophet wanted to?
Because it's from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
Oh, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted.
Of course, because you recited the verse of Surah النجم والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى.
Okay, so if Allah
Whatever the
subhanahu wa ta'ala
Prophet
wants something,
does
then the
or
Prophet
says.
also wants it.
Sorry.
If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something, then it is also something that the Prophet wants, right?
Of course,
Okay, so then he wanted it.
but no. So of course, him wanting it doesn't make it the reason for them to be included. That's what I'm saying.
All right, bro, just bring me proof, man. Bring me proof for what you're saying.
Okay.
Like, which scholar said this? And if you quote me at the Haq, I told you at the Haq, you're quoting a guy who did not meet the Prophet. I am quoting you people who actually met the Prophet. Bring me someone who has your opinion who actually met the Prophet. And if you cannot provide for me someone that actually met the Prophet, then yani, your proof is baseless. Yani, who cares about your proof? Because I'm
Didn't
actually
Ibn
bringing you
Abbas meet the
scholars.
Prophet?
Yes, but the opinion of Ibn Abbas is not the same as yours because Ibn Abbas, according to your book, says that it's specifically about the wives, only the wives. That's not your position, right?
Yeah, my position is primarily about the wives. The
Bro,
asl of the ayah is about the
stop
wives.
jumping. Listen, stop jumping positions. You literally just told me it's about the wives and the Ahlul Kisa. So if you're gonna quote Ibn
Do you
Abbas,
understand?
take his opinion.
I'm not sure if you're understanding English or not. Do you understand the meaning of the word primarily? Primarily does not exclude Ahlul Kisa. Primarily means the asl of the ayah is about them. That doesn't
Okay,
exclude them.
If it's primarily about the wives, then why is the أسباب النزول the أهل الكساء? Can you answer me this question? In Tirmidhi, we can see that Salama says, not Salama, Umar ibn Abi Salama, who is a companion, Salamullahi alayhi, he says that لما نزلت هذه الآية, when the ayah was revealed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam read the ayah over them and put them inside of the cloak. So this is the asbab al-nuzul, the reason of revelation. The reason of revelation is the ahlul kisa, is when the Prophet put them under the kisa and recited the ayah over them and then said, Allahumma ha'ula'i ahlu bayti fa'adhib anhum ar-rijsa wa tahhiruhum tathira. The Prophet said, O Allah, these are the members of my family, so remove the impurity from them and purify them. Then Salama said, Am I among them, O Prophet of Allah? He said, No. He said, You are in your own... He didn't say no, sorry. He said, You are in your own place. You are upon good. You are in your own place, and you are upon good. When he says, You are in your own place, he's denying her. He's saying, No, you're not among them. And this is not my position. Like I said before, I showed you Tufi, who's a Sunni scholar, a recent Sunni scholar. He says in his book, that this is proof. He quotes the narration of it in al-Tirmidhi. You can see the first page, you can see in the footnote, Hadith Hasan Rawahu al-Tirmidhi. And then on the next page, he says that this is dalil. When the Prophet said, Anti ala makanik, you are in your own place, he says, this is dalil that the only members are the Ahlul Kisa and the wives are not included. So
Sorry,
if you tell
where do you say
on the second page, on the second page, I remember I read it on the second page. I'm on my phone right now, so I can't zoom a lot. I can't see anything, but I remember I read it
Yeah,
on the second
I
page.
can't. I see the ورواه من حديث سلمة وقال حديث حسن.
Yes,
That's the
that's the
first page,
footnote.
right?
Yeah, yeah. So now, please answer my question. If you claim that the primary reason is the wives, then how come the asbab al-nuzul is ahlul kisa? How come? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not know what He's doing? He reveals it about the Ahlul Kisa, but you apparently know that it's about the wives.
So you said when the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "You're in your place and your goodness," that he's negating that Salama is there. But I also provided a hadith of Bayhaqi, which he says you're already included in it. So based on that narration itself, I can say the Prophet ﷺ is saying she's already included in it. So
Bring the sanad. You didn't bring the sanad. You brought the narration.
okay, let me look it up. I mean, I don't have all the screenshots prepared like you, so
Yeah, that's fine, bro. Take your time. That's fine. Because I remember all of the narrations that said that you are also included were all weak. I checked them one by one.
okay. Give me like 5 minutes.
That's fine, bro. Take your time. Yeah, I remember I saved one of the narrations where apparently the wives were included. I'm gonna bring it, and it was weak. It had one guy who was weak. Let me see if that's the one. Yeah, yeah, this is the one. So yeah, so I just found one in the book of al-Bayhaqi. Oh, it's al-Bayhaqi actually. Yeah, it's a narration in his book, and and it's the same narration, I think. And in it there's Abdurrahman bin Abdullah, and he's weak. Yeah, in the narration there's Abdurrahman bin Abdullah bin Dinar, and he's weak. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the narration you're quoting is weak, and I am showing you one that is sahih upon consensus. Ibn Taymiyyah and Fakhruddin al-Razi, I can in Fakhr al-Razi in his Tafsir, Fakhruddin al-Razi, he says that this narration in al-Tirmidhi is weak upon consensus. Ibn Taymiyyah in his Majma' al-Fatawa says the same thing. Not weak, I mean sahih upon consensus, but what am I saying? So yeah, I'm showing you a narration sahih upon consensus. Inshallah, prove to me that the narration you're showing is sahih. And like I said, bro, you can even ignore the last part. I am showing you that the asbab al-nuzul, the reason of revelation, was that the Prophet put them inside of his cloak and recited the ayah upon him. Upon them, I mean. If when the ayah is supposed to be revealed, it's supposed to be the reason of revelation. Yani, it's going to show us yani, who was it about? Why was the ayah revealed? What does the ayah mean? And as we can see, the ayah was revealed about 5 different people. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ali, Fatima, al-Hasan, wal-Hussein. And when Salama wanted to be a part of them, the Prophet told her, you're in your own place. So the reason of revelation shows us that it's about 5 people. The wives have nothing to do with it. And Salama wanted to be in it, and the Prophet decided he didn't let her. Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I can show other narrations, yani just to take some time. So we have other narrations. I'll show the narration Sahih Muslim of Aisha. I'll show the couple ones in Musnad Ahmad. I'll show the ones in Mustadrak al-Sahihain. Actually, in Mustadrak al-Sahihain, there's like 8 different narrations of Hadith al-Kisa coming from different companions. Here it is. So these are the 2 narrations in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And as you can see, it says the same thing. It might be a bit different than the one in Tirmidhi. So it says that when the ayah was revealed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he recited the verse over them after putting the cloak over them. Same thing with the second one. Then we have one in Khasa'is Amir al-Muminoon by Nisa'i.
So this is the one I found. Inshallah, I'll do takhrij of this hadith and get back to you on the full isnad and stuff. But
No
do
worries,
you
bro. Take your time.
have the takhrij of the hadith that says it's weak, and who authenticated weak?
I just wrote it down that there is a guy called Abdullah bin. Wait, let me check his name again. I had written it down, and I had checked that he was weak upon consensus. I didn't make the scan. I should have. So in the one of al-Bayhaqi, there is a guy called Abdurrahman bin Abdullah, and he's weak upon consensus. Like everyone weakens him. Yeah, do you have the chain? Because
I have to go back
just...
to. I have to go back to Bayhaqi's Sunan and open it up and find it. It's gonna take a lot more time. I think than you just want to sit around and wait. I'll have to look it up and then get back to you and send you the screenshot.
Alright, no worries.
Yeah, but I don't know how he's weak by consensus. But Hakim was grading this hadith Sahih.
Who, al-Hakim?
Yeah.
Al-Hakim
Sorry,
Nisapuri?
no, not Hakim. Sorry, but this hadith is graded Sahih by Bayhaqi himself.
Show me the chain, bro. I remember I looked at the one in the... I mean, here, bro, I'll go at Shamila right now. You know what? Give me 1 second. It's in Sunan al-Kubra?
Yeah.
Which book is it?
Yeah, Sunan al-Kubra al-Bayhaqi.
Alright, I'll find it right now, bro. Give me 1 second.